It might not look like much, but the jumper plate is a powerful LEGO element that opens a lot of possibilities within the LEGO system, as it allows you to break away from the standard studded grid. If you're using regular LEGO bricks and plates, you're bound to the grid, meaning there's only a handful of possible locations where you can place a piece, and there's nothing you can really do to get out of this grid unless you offset the studs placement locations with jumper plates. That's when things start to get fun. Now, before going into the uses of the jumper, let's take a look at the element itself. When it was first introduced, it looked a little different, but there's been a few updates to the element, with the most noticeable one being the inclusion of the groove. Not sure what the reasoning was, but the truth is, this makes it easier for the element to be taken apart with a brick separator like so, even though using the regular gripping point still works, as the newest brick separator also has a middle slot that perfectly connects with jumpers. Looking at the underside of the jumper from left to right, we see the older variant with the closed off circle in the middle, to the updated one with groove and open circle, to the third example and the one you'll most commonly see in LEGO sets nowadays with the weird looking underside. Despite weird looking, it allows the element to be used with regular studs, where the older versions didn't since they had the circle in the middle. The older ones only allowed for connections with other types of elements with open studs, like other jumper plates or Technic bricks. In recent years, the family of jumpers has grown quite a bit, and on top of the regular one there's the 2x2 variant, that offsets the hole in a 2x2 base. There's the 2x4 jumper, that's basically two of the previous ones combined into a single element, a 1x3 jumper with two holes, and finally a rounded 1x2 jumper that I first seen in LEGO Super Mario sets. What's so great about the jumper is that it allows to break the grid and offset studs, making detailing such as these and half studs smoother. This is something I really like using to make windows on LEGO houses more interesting. If you stick to the grid, a LEGO house can be very plain looking like this. Nothing wrong with it, of course, but it can be better. If you offset the windows by a full stud, it gets a bit much, right? The windows are a bit too deep into the wall. But once you start using the jumper plates, the offset can be smaller, thus making the build way more appealing. Do the same to the door, and what was once a very flat looking surface suddenly becomes 10 times more interesting because of the use of jumpers. Making triangular shapes with regular pieces becomes super pixelated when sticking to the grid. But if you add some jumper plates into the mix, the shapes will be smoother and nice looking. Same goes for pyramid structures. I'm sure most of us have done LEGO pyramids with basic bricks at some point in time, but using these super jumpers, as I like to call them, we can start offsetting the elements in 2 dimensions for nicer looking shapes. The article that inspired this video also had a good example on how to fit 3 windows behind an 8 wide arch, never possible without the use of the jumper plates. Have you ever dreamt about making a LEGO sphere? It's quite simple. You build 6 of these panels, use a structure of bricks with studs on the sides to connect the 6 faces, and you're good to go. Pretty decent result at this scale. But then there's the Lowell sphere, designed by Bruce Lowell, where the jumper plate used on the 6 faces takes the sphere design up a notch by smoothing out these areas of the basic sphere. In a previous video I talked about stud reversals, so the hole on the jumper is pretty good for that when combined with other elements with some sort of bar on them. The fact that the updated jumper plate design has a groove now means that if you stack a bunch of them and place the build onto a wall, you'll get a nice texture that turns plain looking walls not so plain. And if you're smart about it, use more jumper plates at the bottom to offset the build for even nicer detailing. With a bit of LEGO math, you can also use this detail for a floor instead. Take the same stack of jumpers and twist every single one of them just a little bit for this nice looking shape, and you should totally do the same with the 2x2 jumpers for maybe some futuristic type of column. You can also get creative with the jumpers, making use of the offset for even weirder looking shapes and structures like these. The ultimate power of the jumper is making people jump to the like and subscribe buttons for more highlight piece videos like this one, right? Right?